Now may I request Shri Subramanya Bhatt sir to welcome Dr. Prasanna M. Mogasale sir with the floral greetings. Thank you, sir. Now may I take this privilege to introduce our today's guest speaker, Dr. Prasanna N. Mogasale sir. Sir has completed BMS in the year 1996 at SDM Mangalore University. Sir has completed his post-graduation in the year 2000 at JAMC Mysore. Sir has total 22 years of teaching experience, and presently sir is working as Associate Professor in the Postgraduate Department of Rognidana, Sri Dharmasthala Manjunatheshwar College of Ayurveda, Udupi. Sir is a well-known clinician, academician, who has unveiled many concepts related to samprapti of many common and rare disorders seen in the clinical practice. Sir has presented and published many research papers and participated as resource person in many national and international seminars. So with this brief introduction, may I request Dr. Prasanna N. Mogasale sir to take over the dais.
Ragadi rogan satatan shaktan asheshakayan prasutan asheshan autsukya moha ratidan jaganayo apurva vaidyaya namastu tasmi. My salutations to the Apurva Vaidya, Lord Dhanvantari, and my pranamas to my Guru, late Dr. G. Srinivasa Acharya. This Bhava Prakash Auditorium was once famous for cultural and sports related activities of our esteemed institution, that is STM. But later, when G. Srinivasa Acharya joined this institution, he enriched this Bhava Prakasha academically by conducting so many national and international seminars, successful seminars. And Srinivasa Acharya refers to this stage only, Anvartana. Today, sir is not there with us. This is first seminar after his demise, and it's my privilege to stand before you and share my view in this auditorium. I am thankful to the principal, Dr. Mamata KV, HOD Department of Agada, Dr. Chaitra Hebbar, and all the staff members of Department Agatandra for giving me an opportunity to share my view. I am also thankful to my friend, my HOD, Dr. Nagaraj, and all my department colleagues for the constant support, encouragement in my journey of STM. In this slide, a gentleman is standing, and he is wearing a spectacle, but he is adjusting the spectacle. And that adjustment probably for the betterment or for the better understanding, better vision. And today's topic, Dushi and Garavisha. If we adjust our spectacle, we can see immunology. A part of immunology is explained under the heading of Dushi and Garavisha. Myself, Dr. Prasanna Mogasale, will be continuing. Yavantahi loke bhavavishesha tavantaha purushe yavantaha purushe tavantaha loke. You all know, human body is an epitome of universe. External milieu and internal milieu are similar and hence interrelated. Kalartha karmanam yogo hina mityati yodaka. Samyak yogascha vijnaya roga rogaikya karanam. All the sufferings or all the diseases are attributed to hina, mithya, ati yoga of kala, asatmendriya sanyoga and prajna parada. And all the diseases are originated by dosha. Diseases are reflection of dosha kopa, that is rogastu dosha vaishamya. Actually, dosha shabdo antaranga hetu matropalakshanam. Dosha kopa is a reflection of nidana. Disease is a reflection of dosha kopa, and dosha kopa is a reflection of hetu or the nidana. And regarding the hetu, one such important term, that is hita and ahita. That's what we study. We study in our Swasthavrata. That is hita ahara upayoga eka eva purusha vruddhikaro bhavati. Ahita ahara upayoga punar vyadi nimittam iti. Health or the disease depends on hita or ahita sevana respectively. And this particular hita and ahita is of two types as per Sushruta. That is ekanta hita and sanyoga hita, as well as ekanta ahita or sanyoga ahita. And this particular hita is also patya and ahita is apatya. Tasya hita hitam iti ayushaha patya patyam. So hita and ahita are obviously patya and apatya. And we know patya antar madhya bahir margaya hitaha. That is, patya is congenial to any shrotas or a marga in any specific animal group. And the dravya being hita or ahita or patya or apatya, that is because of the swabhava of the dravya. And it is further said, tadeva apatyam desha kala sanyoga virya pramanati yogan bhuyastara apatyam sampadyate. So bhuyastara apatyam, right? So patya and apatya has influence of desha, kala, sanyoga, virya, pramana, etc. And sanyoga of dravya can potentiate the effect of dravya either for wellness or for illness. And in this series of different terminology, hita and ahita, patya and patya, there is one more term, that is satmya and asatmya. And speaking about satmya, tatra satmyam nama yad upashite sukham karoti iti arthaha yaduktam sukha samyakam arogya. Satmya is responsible for sukha or health. And if you keenly observe the definition, satmya is also part of Vyadikshamatva. It is said that tacha arogya rupam sukham swaste anagata bada pratishedena tata vyadite vyadyapanena satmena kriyate. That means satmya will protect the health in healthy and eases the disease in diseased. So the Vyadikshamatva definition, Vyadikshamatvam, Vyadi balavrodhatvam, Vyadi utpadaka pratibandakatvam iti yavat. So sukha in relation with the Vyadikshamatva, anagata abada pratisheda means Vyadi utpadaka pratibandakatvam iti yavat. And vyadite vyadyapanena satmanya kriyate, that means vyadi bala virodhitvam. And regarding the apatya, asatmya charinam anuchita ahara bhakshinam. That is, asatmya refers to practice of non-convivial substance. And asatmya is amicable to the health, and asatmya is specifically prakrita rupa upagatakam. The prakrita rupa of an individual, that the homeostasis is altered because of the asatmya. And there is one more term which is similar to asatmya, that is virudha. Which is similar to patya, which is similar to apatya, that is virudha. Which is similar to ahita, that is virudha. So it is said that Vairodhikanam sarvada apatyattvena nanoshada dravyam iti. So Virudha is sanyoga. Virudha is sanyoga of dravya and it is apatya. It is apatya. Tadeva apatyam deshakala sanyoga virya pramana atiyogas bhuyastara apatyam sampadeti. Sanyoga of dravya will potentiate the effect of apatya. Further, it is said by Dallana, Viruddhashana Shabdena, Guru Shita Abhishandi Vidahi Asatmya Pramitashana Grahyate. So Virudha is Asatmya. The only difference, a dravya causing harmful effect, that is Asatmya. A sanyoga of dravya causing harmful effect is Virudha. And looking into the definitions, Yat kinchit dosham asravyam na nirharet kayataha ahara jatam tat sarvam ahita yopapadyati. This is Charaka. So, as you know, Virudha vitiates the dosha. And vitiated dosha will not be eliminated from the body. Our Vamana Virechana Dravya, Shodhana Dravya will excite the dosha, but they also eliminate. But Virudha excites the dosha, but it cannot eliminate the dosha. And Virudha is ahito padyati, that is, Virudha is ahita or asatmya. Sushruta has added some more information regarding this particular Virudha. Yatkichit dosham utklesham bhuktam kayanna nirharet is the same as Charaka. And Sushruta added, rasadishu ayatartam va tadvikaraya kalpate. This is very interesting description. Rasadishu ayatartam. So rasadishu ayatartam means jivanadi prayojana virodhi. So jivana prinanam jivanam lepo. That karma of rasajidhatu, that prayojana viruddha. It doesn't serve the purpose. That means rasadi dhatu dushanakaram. So it means Sushruta says Virudha is likely to vitiate the dosha also. It vitiates dosha and it also vitiates the dosha. And Dallana further clarifies, dosha dushti karvitvena dhatu dushanakaratvam na labhyate visishta shakti dravyana. In every occasion, dosha vitiation is essential to bring about derangement in the dhatu. Whereas Virudha has a special potency. By the virtue of the Virudha, it can vitiate dhatu independently, independent of dosha. So Virudha can directly damage the dhatu. So that is a special description that we can find, and Dallana quotes takes a supportive statement from Charaka, that is Kanichit dosha dushtikarani, Kanichit dhatu dushtikarani, that is Charaka Sutra, first chapter. Anyway, so same view is given by senior Vagbhata, that is Viruddham taddi dhatunam pratyanikataya sthitam. Dhatunam pratyanikataya. So Virudha can derange the dhatu without the help of dosha dushti. That is one special attitude of, or special effect of Virudha. So with this, till now we have covered several issues, and to summarize that, health depends upon hita or satmya or patya, and the disease is because of ahita or asatmya or apatya. Further, hita is ekanta hita and sanyoga hita, ahita is ekanta ahita and sanyoga ahita. And apatya may be ekanta ahita or asatmya. Ekanta ahita or asatmya. Or apatya may be sanyoga ahita or viruddha. Apatya has two possibilities, ekanta or sanyoga. So accordingly, asatmya and viruddha. So now moving on to the topic gara and dushi. It is said by Charaka, gara sanyogajam cha anyat gara samjam gadapradam. Very beautiful quotation. Sanyoga of Dravya, Gara Sanyogajam, Sanyoga of Dravya has a deleterious effect on the body. That is Garavisha. And Sanyoga of Dravya, there are two possibilities. So in Madhavanidhana commentary it is said that Sanyogajam Visham Dividam Ekam Sa Visha Avisha Sanyoga Kritam Kritrima Samjam Aparam Nirvisha Dravya Kritam Gara Samjam. And same view even Chakrapani had. Chakrapani also said Garantu Dividam Nirvisha Dravya Sanyoga Kritam Tata Savisha Dravya Sanyoga Kritam Cha Tatra Adyam Gara Samjam. That is Nirvisha Dravya Sanyoga is Garavisha. And Uttarantu Kritrimamiti Vyakya. Though it is Sanyoga, you should not say it as Gara, rather it is Kritrimavisha. That's a view of all the commentators. So Garavisha is Nirvisha Dravya Sanyoga and Savisha Dravya Sanyoga is considered as Kritrimavisha. And it is said, while explaining Gara in Ashtanga Sangraha, Nana Pranyanga Shamala Viruddhaushadi Basmanam Vishanancha Alpaviryanam Yogo Gara iti smrata. Viruddhaushadi Yogo Gara. So, having Virya Pradhana Dravya and their combination, if it is producing a ill effect, then that is Garavisha. That is one meaning out of this description. And further, in Ashtanga Sangraha, there is one chapter for Viruddhahara. That is in Sutrasthana 9th chapter. In the beginning, Vagbhata says, Atato Viruddhana Vijnaniyam Madhyayam Vyakyasam. So there, Indu says, Aharasya Prasaktatvat Viruddhasya cha Tasya Garasadrishatvat. So Ahara Dravya, even Rasa. Ahara Dravya is Rasa Pradhana. So Rasa Pradhana Dravya, its combination acts like Viruddha. And that is Viruddha and that is Gara also. That is Gara also, similar to Gara itself. So Ahara Dravya, Rasa Pradhana Dravya, or Ausha Dravya, or Virya Pradhana Dravya, when it is combined and if it is producing harmful effect, that is considered as Garavisha or it is Viruddha. And speaking about Dushi Visha, Pragvata Ajirna Shitabra Divasapna Hitashane Dushtam Dushayato Dhatu Nato Dushi Visham Smritam Dushitam Desha Kalanadi Kalanna Divasapnair Abhikshnasha. So this is the description in Sushruta or Vagbhata. And here, if you go through the literature, the meaning is Dushi Visha is Avisha Dravya, that is Ahita Ashana, Ajirna Ashana. Ahita Ashana, consumption of Ahita Ashana, and that is Avisha Dravya. Ahita Ashana means Avisha Dravya. Okay? And repeated exposure, Abhikshnasha, that is Punha Punha, repeated exposure. And ultimately acts as Dhatu Pradushaka. And Sushruta added to this, Sushruta says, Jirnam Vishagnaushabir Hatam Davagni Vata Tapa Shoshitam Va Sabhavoto Va Gunaviprahinam Visham Hi Dushi Visham. So here he says, even Savisha Dravya also possible, but that Visha should be less potent. Visha should be less potent and it should not kill a person immediately. So it will have a chronic effect in the long run. So that is Dushi Visha. So Dravya, a Dravya which is causing deleterious effect, that is Dushi Visha. That Dravya may be Savisha or Avisha. So that is Dushi Visha. And this particular Dushi Visha is like Asatmya. The reason Yadupayaktam Prakrita Rupa Upagatakam Tad Asatmya. And similarly, Tushtam Dushayato Dhatu Nato Dushi Visham. So Dushi Visha is nothing but Asatmya. Dushi Visha is nothing but Asatmya. Gara Visha is nothing but Viruddha and Dushi Visha is nothing but Asatmya. And Dushi Visha and Gara Visha and Dushi Visha acts alike. It is said, Roge Nana Vider Churnani Garamadishe Dushi Visha Prakaranam. and the Dallana quoting Harana Chandra's opinion, Dushi Visha Lakshanas are also seen in Gara Visha. And there is another description where Chakrapani says, Kalantara Prakopi Visham, Dushi Visham, Evam Bhutam cha Garameo Prayo Bhavati. So Dushi Visha acts like Gara. So Dushi Visha acts like Gara, Gara Visha acts like Dushi. That means both are same clinically. Further. So with this, to summarize, Dushi Visha is equal to Gara Visha clinically. Dushi Visha is Asatmya and Gara Visha is Virudha. Further, when we look into the pathogenesis of Visha, Visham hi Deham Samprapya Prak Dushayati Shonitam Kapapitanilamscha Anusamam Doshan Saashaya Yan Tato Radem Astaya Dehachedaya Kalpate. This is what we have studied, and that means Visha initially vitiates dosha, vitiates dhatu, that is particularly Shonita. So dhatu dushti is once again independent of dosha. It initially affects the dhatu, followed by dosha. That's what? Kapapitanilamscha anu. So kapapitanilamscha anu means it is independently vitiating dhatu as well as dosha. It is not the dosha that is vitiating dhatu in case of Visha, and together with Dushta dosha and Dushta Rakta reaches the Hridaya. So Rakta, when we say reaches the Hridaya, it must be Rasa also. So Rasa Rakta, it reaches, the Rasa Rakta gets vitiated and reaches the Hridaya and thereby produces derangement in the dhatu, either disease or death. And if you look into the pathogenesis of Virudha, just now we have, as I discussed earlier, Virudha is also vitiates the dosha, Virudha also vitiates the dhatu, and dhatu dushti in case of Virudha is independent of dosha dushti. Virudha is likely to vitiate the dhatu independently without the help of dosha. So pathogenesis of Virudha and pathogenesis of Gara or Dushi Visha is almost same. Both are same. So dosha dushti, dhatu dushti is independent of dosha. So that is common for Visha as well as Asatmya or Virudha. And why in Virudha context it is, they have not mentioned Rakta. They said Rasadishu Ayatartham, Rasadi, anything. So, but if you look into the examples given in the textbook, you will see several examples wherein specifically Rakta Dhatu Dushti is mentioned. That is one such example. Virudha Viryatva Shonita Pradushanaya Maha Abhishandi Margoparodaya. Or another example, he says Shonita Janam Vibandhanjanam Cha Vyadinam. Or some more examples, Shonita Abhishandi Dhamani Pratichaya. So like this, these different examples of Virudha Hara, you will get a description, Rakta Dushti specifically. That means Virudha specifically vitiates Rakta even. So with this, Asatmya or Virudha, Dushi or Gara, if you compare the pathogenesis, both are same. And why Rakta is very specific here? Why Rakta is very specific? Reason, the karma of Dhatu. Prinanam, Jivanam, Lepo, Sneho, Dharana, Purani, which we have studied in the first year BMS, there Jivana refers to Ojo Vradhikaram, Rakta Karma. Rakta Karma is Ojo Vradhikara, that's Bala or the Vyadikshamatva or the immunity. So it primarily affects the Bala of an individual. Visha or Virudha primarily affects Bala of an individual, thereby so many diseases. Further, in Charaka has kept one chapter for Rakta, Vidishonitya, Sutrasthana. He has not mentioned any other chapter in the name of other dhatu. And he is specific for Rakta also. And the reason Shivadasa Sena says, Yadyapi Shonita Vikara api Vatadi Janya eva tatapi dhatushu bahuvikara kartritvena pradanya suchanartam pratagadhyaya abhidanam jneyam. So that means much of our suffering is invariably involved with the Rakta Dhatu. And regarding the Dushi Visha and Gara Visha and its onset, clinical onset. It is said in Ashtanga Sangraha, Stavaram Jangamam Cheti Visham Proktam Akritrimam Kritrimam Garasamyantu Kriyate Vividoshadi Hanti Yogavashena Ashu Chira Chirataracha Tat. So manifestation is Ashu or Chira or Chiratara, that is relative terms. That means sudden onset or gradual onset, that is a manifestation. The reason is Yoga Vashena. Yoga Vashena, that means the potency of Dravya, that is Yoga Vashena Tata Vida Dravya Yoga Vashat. That is the potency of that decides whether Ashu or Chira. And if you observe the onset of Virudha, it is once again similar to the Gara or the Dushi. So it is said that Viruddham apicha aharam vidyat visha garopamam. So what is Visha? Vishavat sadyonashakatvam, Garavat kalantaranashakatvam, rogajanakam, upamana dvayam. That's a commentator. So sadyonashavat, Vishavat sadyonashaka, that is sudden onset, and Garavat kalantaranashakatvam or gradual onset. So pathogenesis wise, once again, Viruddhahara and Dushi and Garavisha are same. But most occasion, the clinical manifestation of Garavisha and Dushivisha is gradual onset with the chronic course. Gradual onset with chronic course, that is, it is said, the reason is Vishahanam cha alpa viryanam or viryalpa bhavatna nipatayet kapavartam varshagana anubandhi. So mostly it is gradual, but at times it may be Ashu also. And as I discussed earlier, the manifestation of Dushi and Garavisha are almost same. Gara is like Dushi, Dushi is like Gara. So manifestation is once again similar. And you have the examples, so most of them are overlapping. The next slide, it is the reason same. Why it is same? The reason is it is the Adhisthana. Adhisthana, which Adhisthana is affected accordingly, manifestation, Amashayaste Kafavata Rogi, Pakvashayaste Anila Pitta Rogi, Amashayaste Kafavata Rogi, Tamakashwasa, or Amavata, such disorders, Kafavata Roga, immunological disorders. Pakvashayaste Anila Pitta Rogi, that is Pakvasha Vikara, Atisara, there to Anila Pitta, that is Raktatisara, ulcerative colitis, such disorders. That is immunological disorders. He quotes several immunological diseases by quoting Amashayaste, Kafavata Rogi, Pakvashayaste, Anila Pitta Rogi. Further he says, Sitam Rasadishu, Athava Yatuktan, Karoti, Dhatu Prabhavan, Vikaran, depending upon the Adhisthana. If Rasa, then Rasa Pradosha Vikara, Rakta, then Rakta Pradosha Vikara, like that. Now coming to the actual topic. That is immunological outlook. With this background, I will move on to immunological outlook. And to begin immunology here, I need to speak about antigen and hapten. Antigen and hapten. An antigen is a molecule or a molecular structure or any foreign particulate matter or pollen grain, etc., that can bind to a specific B cell receptor or T cell receptor. Antigen may or may not elicit immune response. When the antigen binds with the T cell receptor or B cell receptor, it may elicit immune response or it may not also. And similarly, hapten are minute molecules with relatively simple chemical composition, which are not immunogenic. It is so simple and its length also very minimum, so it cannot attach with the B cell receptor or T cell receptor, but they may create immune response when they are attached or conjugated with a carrier protein, a large carrier protein. When the hapten combines with a large carrier protein, then it can attach to the B cell receptor or T cell receptor, thereby it may or may not show immune response. So that is one diagrammatic. So this diagrammatic representation, hapten, there is an immune cell, it cannot attach, but hapten, when it combines with the carrier protein, then it attaches to the B cell receptor or immune cell, that is maybe either B cell or T cell receptors. Further to elaborate, specific epitome of antigen binds to T cell receptor or T cell receptor. So whole antigen cannot bind. Only an epitome of antigen binds to T cell receptor or B cell receptor. Generally, an antigen is served on the platter, a plate-like structure of major histocompatibility complex, popularly called as MHC. MHC class 2 and class 1. There are two things. MHC class 1 for endogenous antigen and MHC class 2 for heterogeneous antigens. So this antigen is served on the platter of MHC class 2 present on the T cell receptor or B cell receptor. MHC class 2 has a peptide binding groove. It has a peptide binding groove. The peptide derived from an antigen which has a length of 16 to 18 residues can easily bind to MHC class 2 peptide binding groove and presented to B cell receptor or T cell receptor, thereby immunogenic action. Similarly, the hapten are too simple and lesser in length than the peptide derived from an antigen. Hence, they cannot bind. When haptens are attached or conjugated with the large carrier protein, they get easily bind to MHC class 2 peptide binding groove. Now they may become immunogenic. So antigen and hapten are immunogenic. That means they are against our body. That is, they are called as Dehadhatu Pratyanika Bhutani Dravyani. As per Charaka, Dehadhatu Pratyanika Bhutani Dravyani, it is against to our body. Dehadhatu Pratyanika Bhutani Dravyani. Further, antigen or hapten is TVISHA or Garavisha. Antigen binds with the B cell receptor or T cell receptor and may produce immunogenic response. Similarly, TVISHA or asatmya, Dushi is asatmya, right? Asatmya capable of interacting with the Dehadhatu and may produce Dhatu Dushti as well as Doshakup. That means there is an interaction. If at all interaction, that is Dehadhatu Pratyanika Bhutani Dravyani, Dehadhatu Bihi Virodhama Pad. So that means the antigen acts like, antigen is nothing but TVISHA. And the hapten is basically non-immunogenic. When it combines with the carrier protein, it attains the immunogenic property. So, hapten is also capable of eliciting immunogenic reaction. The basic element of hapten is non-immunogenic. As a result, processing is required to make a substance to bind with the carrier protein and thereby attain a capacity to bind B cell receptor or T cell receptor. This processing is nothing but Virudha or Gara. Let me give an example. We know that taking milk with the fish is Virudha ahara. And the milk, the metabolite do not attach with the, generally those who are having sensitivity, there's a different story. Generally, milk protein, metabolite will not attach to B cell receptor or T cell receptor. It doesn't produce any harm to the body. Similarly, the matsya, similarly the fish, it cannot produce any adverse reaction. It cannot attach to the B cell receptor or T cell receptor. It will not. Now, when these two food articles are taken together, it is considered as Virudha. That means the combination, its metabolite is something different from metabolite of milk individually and metabolic of fish individually. That processing combination, that makes the end product to attach to a carrier protein. So that is Virudha, the processing. That is Virudha. And once this is attaching to the carrier protein, then of course we know binds to B cell receptor, T cell receptor, then there may be immune reaction. So antigen is TVISHA and hapten is Garavisha. So asatmya, TVISHA, antigen, Virudha, Garavisha, hapten. Now, there is one more terminology related with the immunology, and it is once again related with the TVISHA, Garavisha, that is immune tolerance. Immune tolerance is known as the state of an active, highly regulated unresponsiveness of the immune system to self-antigens or heteroantigens that can induce an immune response in the body. And self-antigens is an antigen naturally present in the body that nonetheless elicits an immune response. This could be cell or cell membrane. So we have plenty of innumerable cells in the body, and for this cell membrane, B cell or T cell receptors will not attach so that we are healthy. If at all it attaches, then it may destroy. So body has a selective responsiveness to the antigen. Selective responsiveness to the antigen. So if it ignores, that is called as immune tolerance. That is called as immune tolerance. So this is nothing but sahajasatmya. It is nothing but sahajasatmya. Viruddhairapi natu ete gunirganti parasparam dosha sahajasatmyam avisham gora maheniva. So dosha gunas are having opposite. Doshas are having opposite gunas. So vata is ruksha, kapha is snigdha, pitta is ushna, vata kapha shita. They are having opposite guna, and whenever there is opposite guna, naturally they fight. Viruddha guna sannipate, puyasa alpavaji. That's they fight. Okay? And now, if I say dosha as sahajasatmya, then dosha, is it immunity? There is a question. And if yes, then what it is? Yes, dosha is part of immune system. It is very clearly said, udhano balamuchyate, or raga, bhakti, oja, teja, medo, ushma krita pittam, that is oja pittam, prakritastu balam shleshmam. So doshas are part of immune system, probably they are immune mediators. And this is one issue that is there, part of immune system. Second thing, what are they? If I say doshas are part of immune system, there is one more proof. Immune response always results in inflammation. Inflammation without immune response is not possible. And inflammation is always because of tridosha. It is very clearly said, Shofas-traya eva doshaha. Shofams-traya eva dosha, that is Sushruta Sutra. So probably these doshas are immune mediators. And two more terminology, that is immunogenicity and antigenicity. The ability of a substance to induce immune response is known as immunogenicity. And immune response could be humoral or cellular immune response. And this particular dushi and garavisha interacts with the deha dhatu. That means this can bring about reaction. Dushi and garavisha interacts with the body elements, deha dhatu pratyanyeka bhutani, deha dhatu bhi virodham apadi. It interacts and it causes virodha. That is, it shows immune response. It shows immune response. That is called as immunogenicity. And always, all immunogens are antigens. But all antigens need not be immunogens. That's a rule. And what is antigenicity then? The ability of a substance to bind specifically to the products of immune response is known as antigenicity. And such substances are called as antigenic. To understand this, we should, I should give an example. There is one antigen has entered the body. One antigen has entered the body. And it is attached to the B cell receptor or T cell receptor, and it has shown immune response. And imagine, body has overcome that antigen. So B cell produces antibody, T cell produces cytotoxic T cell or helper T cells. Okay, it destroys the antibody. And once again, if an antigen enters, or similar antigen, which has a similar structure, if it enters the body, then there will not be there will not be immune response. Rather, the antibody which is formed in the body, that will replicate. There is no question of attaching to the B cell, C cell, T cell receptor. Directly antibody will replicate and destroy. So that is called as antigenicity. And of course, Dhara and Dushi, Visha are antigenic. The best quotation from a textbook is Satmya Viparitam Anupashayat Asatmyam. Satmya Viparita is also known as Anupashaya and Asatmya. The triggering of illness. Patient is all right, bronchial asthma. One day he took exposed to the dust or some other etiological factor. Then the triggering an episode, that is antigenicity. and a patient is suffering from bronchial asthma and further indulging in the causative factors, then that means the perpetuation of the illness. Perpetuation of the illness. That is anupashaya. And triggering of illness is asatmya. Triggering of illness is because of the asatmya, that is antigen, and perpetuation of illness, that is anupashaya. So this TVISHA or GaraVisha is also antigenic. It is immunogenic, it is antigenic further. Now we know that Dehadhatu Pratinike Bhutani Dravyani, Dehadhatu Virodhamapanti. It interacts, that antigen interacts with the B cell, that is antibody. Similarly, antigen interacts with T cell, produces T cell receptor, cytotoxic T cells, etc. Like that, TVISHA, GaraVisha interacts with the body tissues, produces Vyadhi. So this is the story. That means there is antigen-antibody reaction when TVISHA and GaraVisha is taken inside, right? And the rule, as I said, Virudha guna sannipato bhuyasa alpa avajiyate. That is, survival of fittest is the rule. So it is very clearly elaborated in Prameha Nidanin Charaka. Iha kalu nidana dosha dosha visheshebhyo vikara vigata bhava bhava vishesha bhavanti. You all know, right? Then yada hyeto trayo nidanadi visheshaha paraspara nanu bandanti na tada vikaram abhinirvartayanti kana prakarshad chiradva abaliyamso tanavo anubandanti bhavanti yatokta sarvalingamba. So it is survival of fittest. If body overcomes, then no disease. If body fails, antigen heptin dominates, then disease. So it is that much only. So further, if at all antigen and antibody or TVISHA or GaraVisha dominates, then the disease will manifest. And the manifestation is Visha-Garopamam. Visha-Garopamam. That means sudden onset or gradual onset. Sudden onset, mostly type 1 hypersensitivity reaction. Gradual onset, mostly type 2, type 3, type 4 reaction. Further, such similar references are available in Sushruta also. Let me continue. And there is one more issue. If the body succeeds, or its body overcomes an antigen, then there will be formation of memory cells. Memory cells may be B cell memory cell or T cell related memory cells. And these memory cells are sufficient enough to damage the antigen or hapten if they re-enter. Okay? And this is also explained in Ashtanga Sangraha. Tadgunaireva cha asya shariram upaskriyate. As a consequence of immune response, Tadgunaireva cha shariram upaskriyate. As a consequence of immune response, body is imprinted with the memory cells. Upaskriyate. Memory cells are formed. Then further, tatascha tadguna pratipakshe sahasa na badhyate. That is, hence it can, if an individual gets re-exposed to antigen, that is Dehadhatu Pratinike Bhutani Dravya. So that when re-exposure, then it will not produce any harmful effect immediately. Then there is another important issue, that is autoimmunity. So we know Viruddhairapi natu ete gunarigranti paraspara dosha sajasatmyam. This is sajasatmya is immune tolerance. If a person loses immune tolerance, then the destruction of tissues in the body, that's what very clearly mentioned in Charaka Samhita by Chakrapani. Chakrapani says, Paraspara guna upagatastu yadyapi doshanam prayo na asti eva tata api adrishtavashat kvachit bhavati iti. Adrishta means for unknown reason, not luck. Unknown reason, sometimes dosha guna starts fighting. That means the immune tolerance is lost, that results in autoimmunity. Now, few points related with the principles of treatment, GaraVisha, TVISHA, in relation with the immune system. It is said, Viruddhashana jan rogan pratihanti vivechanam vamanam Shamanam cheva purvam va hitasevanam. Purvam va hitasevanam. That means preserving the health is utmost importance for us. So, preserving the health by sadvrata, dinacharya, rutucharya. Then it is said, Virudha Chikitsa, it is said, Tadyata Vamanam Virechanam cha Tad Virodhinam cha Dravyanam Samshamanartham Upayogaha. Tata Vitescha Dravyahi Purvam Abhisamskaraha Sharirasya Chet. This is very important statement by Charaka. Tata Videscha Dravyahi. Similar dravyas are given prior to the manifestation. That is nothing but active immunization. Charaka has explained active immunization. And the commentator said, Tata Videeriti Rasayana Prayoge. So he has diluted whatever it is. Rasayana Prayoge is nothing but passive immunization. So active immunization and passive immunization are the options for us. Further, to pacify the deranged health, he said, Tadyata Vamanam Virechanam, that is purification therapy. Then, Tat Virodhinam cha Dravyanam Samshamanartham Upayogaha, that is Shamana Ushada, the options. And of course, Kiva Tata Videeriti Rasayana Prayogi, that is passive immunization. Passive immunization, it's good. That is Vadihara Rasayana that we can use further. And at the end, it is the desensitization therapy which is explained in Charaka as well as as well as Ashtanga. Padena apatyam abhyastam pada padena vatyajet nishevate hitam tad vekadvit triantari kritam. So this is how we have to live apatya and how we have to consume patya. That is desensitization therapy that will promote or that will pacify the deranged health. With this, to summarize, only few points I have added. Ahita, apatya, asatmya, dushi, visha are one and the same by mode of action. Asatmya, dushi, visha acts like an antigen. Sanyoga, ahita, apatya, virudha, gara, visha are one and the same by mode of action. Virudha, gara, visha acts like hapten. Both Dushi and Garavisha acts like immunogen as well as antigen clinically. Loss of Sahajasatmya is autoimmunity. Thank you.